There are local elections coming up in Delaware. Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti, and one of the candidates in the 7th District running for the House in Delaware is Joe Daigle. That's North Wilmington, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's where you live?
Yes, it is.
In North Wilmington. You're running against two other people now in a primary, the Democratic primary, for a seat that was vacated by Brian Short when he decided he was going to run for Congress. He's not running anymore, and there's every indication he is now going to run for re-election. How much does it change the race, and how much does that change your candidacy?
It changes the race quite a bit. So before it was an open seat, typically an open seat is about people running for office to prove that they are an excellent leader, educated on the issues, ready to represent the people's interests. Typically, when people are running against an incumbent, it has to do with what the incumbent was doing, if they're running for re-election, of course, because they have a track record. So it certainly changes the dynamic. It changes, to some degree, the incentive for people to get into the race, to represent their neighbors and things of that nature when they're comparing what they would do to what someone has been doing.
Do you like Brian Short?
I do like Brian Short. I'm a member of his RD committee.
You are? And so how does this change your candidacy?
Well, it means I have to evaluate a lot, right? My motivation for running, is not directly impacted by his wanting to run. I mean, I want to strengthen our neighborhoods. I want to take care of my friends and neighbors in the district.
But you have to believe that he isn't doing that.
To continue on running against him, absolutely. I would have to.
And you believe he is doing that?
I believe he has been doing that.
So if he, as of this taping, we should point out that he hasn't officially said he's going to run, but there's every indication he's going to. If he makes that official, are you going to continue running?
I'll have to look at a lot of different things. I can't say one way or the other, because of course you have to get information and you have to determine what is and isn't going on and why. So upon doing that, I may stay in the race, I may not. Not to sound wishy-washy about it, but I have to make sure that my goals are going to be attained. The goals of representing our district and our area. If he announces and he doesn't make a wholehearted commitment to what he's been doing, then that would be excellent reason to stay in.
When we first were going to do this interview, it was in the sheet that I got, it said LGBT candidate. And then I started doing some research on you, and I understand you were the first gay couple to be married in the state. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Who didn't have a civil union.
Who didn't have a civil union, right. So when people call you the LGBT candidate or a gay man running for office, as one of the articles said about you, how do you feel about that? Is that something you embrace, or is it something you're like, I wish they wouldn't identify me like that because that's not why I'm running?
Well, it's obviously an oversimplified view of who I am, right?
Right.
So the purpose of every article is not going to be to wholly represent who and what I am. So I recognize that different readers, different subscribers to different news sources are going to be looking to learn that there is an LGBT person running for office. So it's not something that I take personally. Do I think that it describes my candidacy? Do I think it describes me as an individual just being LGBT? No. It's a piece of me. It is a piece of my identity. It is something that I am. It's not all of me. So, it would be wonderful if and when we get to a point where it's not a major piece of the discussion. It's not a major piece of the dialogue and how people have to define me as a candidate. But until that time, I can respect the fact that people want to know that. And after that story has aired, then they're going to get to something more substantive about me.
And I'm just as bad as everybody else because we're out of time. And so I appreciate you being in. Could you come back so we can actually talk about
absolutely.
something substantive?
I've enjoyed meeting you.
It was so much about the politics of it and how some media defined you that we didn't get to talk about issues.
Interesting landscape
And so we will make sure that we have you back so we can talk, because I was fascinating. I got to talk to you in the back room, and we only talked about issues, and you deserve that. So when you come back, we'll talk about that. Joe Daigle, candidate for state representative in the 7th District in Delaware. That's it for the Delaware Way for this week. Stick around for another thing.